towel, we have equipment that he'll be needing, starting with 2 buckets and 2, what we use are the lamb's wool tea mops. We have a bottle of the product that he'll be using today, just a regular garden sprayer, and that's what we mix the neutralizer in. We use a small tennis shoe for testing the surface and a garden hose. So that's where we're going to start. And that's Jack, and Jack's putting on his gloves so that he can do the job safely. And if you notice, he is also wearing his good-looking rubber boots. So what he's going to do first is he is taking the lid off the garden sprayer so that he can mix the neutralizer. And he has already put a little bit of neutralizer in the garden sprayer. He puts in 1 tablespoon per quart of water. So after he has that all put into the garden sprayer, he just sprays the hose into the garden sprayer to mix it. And then gives it a little shake, and it's ready to go.
Water bucket.
1 bucket with water, just clear water. Okay, so Jack's using the slip-resistant treatment for ceramic tile today, and he's going to put it into the other bucket. You do not dilute the product. Of course, you purchase a different kind of product for each floor type. So when you get it, it'll be mixed exactly for your floor type. You won't be diluting it, you just put it straight in the bucket.
The very first thing we want to do is we want to do a small test area. What we have selected here is a small out-of-the-way corner. We're going to do a test. The test is 2 things. Determine how long we need to leave the chemicals on to assure ourselves that it is going to work on this particular floor. So the first thing we do is we take our chemicals, and this is the chemicals that we've just poured into this bucket right out of the bottle, and we're going to just apply the chemicals in a small area, evenly mopping over those areas. We'll start our stopwatch to determine how long it's on the floor. We let the chemicals react. We'll take our tennis shoe, and once every minute, we'll try it and see if it's become slip resistant enough. Okay, we've determined that this floor is now slip resistant, so we'll take our neutralizer, we'll spray the floor with the neutralizer, stopping the chemical reaction. And then we're just going to take a mop and clean it up. And this is just straight water. And then we go ahead and we clean that up and dry it off with our wet vacuum. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work on a section of floor that I can work in 4.5 minutes of time. And then I'm going to stop, I'm going to neutralize it, and then we're going to clean it up.
He set his stopwatch and he's picked a section of the floor to do. He's using the T-mop and he's mopping the product onto the floor.
Making sure it's totally and evenly coated. I find it easiest if I pick grout lines and use those grout lines as a gauge. For instance, here I'm starting here and I'm coming back 1, 2, 3, 4 grout lines, and then just going straight back and forth, getting a little bit more solution on the mop, working my way right across until the whole floor has been coated. Just continue doing this all the way down through the floor.
Now he's only going to treat as much as he feels he can take care of in the 4 minutes that he's decided this product should be on the floor. 4.5 minutes that he's decided this product should be on the floor. And of course he determined that 4.5 minutes by doing a small sample first with the tennis shoe, and all of that's written in our instructions. Now as you're treating the floor, you want to make every effort not to walk back across the area that you've treated. And the reason for that is you don't want to get the chemical on the bottom of your boots and then track it onto some other surface. So if you do have to walk back across your treated area, then be sure to rinse the boots off before you walk anywhere else. So he stays on the outside of the treated area and keeps moving and keeping his boots out of the treatment product.
1.5 minutes, time to start to neutralize this. We're going to spray the neutralizer at the same rate that we treated the floor. Making sure we're getting 100% coverage of the neutralizer. We want to stop the chemical reaction at this point. Now, so that it's more convenient, I'm going to spray the bottoms of my boots to clean them off, and then continue spraying the floor. I can walk on it safely now.
Okay, Jack has covered the whole floor with the neutralizer so he can safely walk on the floor, and the next step is the water.
Go over it and make sure that it is all completely neutralized.
He's just going over the floor with the T-mop. He dipped the mop in some water, and he's just making double sure that the neutralizer has covered the whole floor. But you want to remember that you do not want to go longer and over-treat your floor. If you leave your chemicals on too long, you will over-treat the floor. You can redo it if you don't feel you've reached the slip resistance that you want, but you can't undo it if you treat too much.
That's what I wanted.
The next step that Jack does is to use a shop vac or wet vac to clean up the water and get most of the moisture off of the floor. You don't have to use that method. You can just simply use a mopping bucket.
Is it on or off?
On.
Okay, now I've wet vac up the neutralized chemical solution. The next thing to do is to rinse the floor a couple times with water. There's several ways this can be done. One is just, again, a T-mop and clear water, just going over the floor until it's totally wet and kind of worked in to get whatever neutralized solution might be there. The other, which I'm going to use here, outdoors, so it's perfectly safe to use a hose with relatively low pressure. And just get the floor wet, and then we're going to take and again we'll just kind of mop it, and then wet back it again. We'll do that 2 or 3 times, and the floor is finished.